हॅलो फ्रेंड्स, आजपासून आपण 12वीसाठी केमिस्ट्री या विषयासाठी व्हिडिओ लेक्चर सिरीज चालू करणार आहोत. तर याच्यामध्ये सर्वप्रथम आपण पाहूत कंटेंट्स. नवीन सिलेबसनुसार 16 हे टोटल टॉपिक्स सिलेबसमध्ये इन्क्लूड केलेले आहेत. ज्याच्यामध्ये पहिला आहे सॉलिड स्टेट, दुसरा आहे सोल्युशन्स, आयोनिक इक्विलिब्रिया, केमिकल थर्मोडायनॅमिक्स, इलेक्ट्रोकेमिस्ट्री, केमिकल कायनेटिक्स, एलिमेंट्स ऑफ ग्रुप 16, 17 and 18, transition and inner transition elements, coordination compounds, halogen derivatives, alcohols, phenols and ethers, aldehydes, ketones and carboxylic acids, amines, biomolecules, इंट्रोडक्शन टू पॉलिमर केमिस्ट्री आणि शेवटचं आहे ग्रीन केमिस्ट्री अँड नॅनो टेक्नॉलॉजी. हे 16 टॉपिक जे आहेत ते नवीन सिलेबसनुसार तुम्हाला सिलेबससाठी आहेत. तर आपण पहिलं जे टॉपिक आहे आपला सॉलिड स्टेट त्याच्यापासून स्टार्ट करणार आहोत. 11वीला आपण स्टेट्स ऑफ मॅटर हा टॉपिक पाहिला आहे. States of matter, there are 3 states of matter. One is solid, second one is liquid and third one is gaseous. तर gaseous state आणि थोडं लिक्विड स्टेट हे आपण 11वीला पाहिलेलं आहे. आता त्याच्या पुढचा पार्ट आहे सॉलिड स्टेट. सॉलिड स्टेटवरती टोटल 3 लेक्चर्स व्हिडिओ लेक्चर्स मी करणार आहे. त्याच्यामधला हा पहिला लेक्चर. पहिलं इंट्रोडक्शन. जसं मी सांगितलं देर आर 3 स्टेट्स ऑफ मॅटर, सॉलिड, लिक्विड अँड गॅसेस. जनरल कॅरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ सॉलिड स्टेट. So what are the general characteristics of solid state? The solid of fixed composition has a definite mass, volume, shape and density. Second, the solid state having a short intermolecular distances, that means two molecules they are very close to each other, their intermolecular distance is very short. Third one is strong intermolecular forces. Next one is the constituent particles. It may be the ion or it may be the atom or a molecule remains fixed in their position and can only oscillate about their mean positions. That means they cannot change their position, they cannot go away from their positions. Next characteristic of the solid state is solids are incompressible and rigid, they cannot be compressed. And third one is they have a very high density because they are very closely packed. Next, intermolecular forces in solid. So what are the intermolecular forces in the solid they are present? So the forces acting between constituent particles of the matter within the solid are called as a intermolecular forces. There are some forces which are present inside the constituent particle. And which are these constituent particles? These constituent particles are, it may be the atom, it may be the ion or it may be the molecule, and in between these there is a force of attraction that is called as a intermolecular forces. The main role of the intermolecular forces is to keep together the particles of matter. We have to it may be the atoms or molecules. As I said, that constituent particle may be atoms, molecules or ions. They very close to each other, as like shown in the figure. Also the sodium, which is shown in the purple color, and chlorine shown in the green color, they are very closely packed. It is a solid structure. And second one is a if we dissolve the sodium chloride in water, just plus and minus, that means sodium and chlorine, they are far away. Now next point is, what are the types of solid? Solids can be classified into two types on the basis of their nature of order present in the arrangement of their constituent particles, that is atom, molecule or ion. There are two types of solids. One is a crystalline solid and second one is a amorphous solid. Now next is, what is meant by crystalline solid and what is meant by amorphous solid. Instead of discussing this point separately, just we have conclude them, we have just discussing them and understanding them by comparative study as crystalline solid and amorphous solid. So what is crystalline solid? The crystalline solid, these have definite and regular arrangement of constituent particles in the space. In crystalline solid there is a definite and regular arrangement of the constituent particles in the space. On the other hand, the amorphous solids, which does not have the regular arrangement of the constituent particle in the space. Next differentiating point for the crystalline and amorphous solid is, these are true solids. Crystalline solids are the true solids and amorphous solid are also called as a supercooled liquids, or they are also called as a pseudo solids. Another one differentiating point, they have long order arrangement of particles. That means if we consider the arrangement like A B A B A B like that, there is a long order, but here in amorphous solid there is no such chain, or there is no such long order, there is a short order arrangement of particles. Next differentiating point is, these are anisotropic in nature. Crystalline solids are anisotropic in nature, that is their physical properties are different in different direction, and the amorphous solid are isotropic in nature, that means their physical properties are same in all the directions. If we measure any physical property in one direction, then in crystalline solid the property is different when we measure in the another direction, but in amorphous solid when we measure the physical property in one direction, then it is same as we measure in the another direction. So later we discuss this point in detail. They have sharp melting point, that means the crystalline solid have a fixed melting point, they have a sharp melting point, but the amorphous solid, they melts over the range of the temperature, that means they does not having any fixed melting point, they have a range of a temperature, they melt over the range of the temperature. And next one, the difference between crystalline and amorphous solid is, they undergoes the clean cleavage when cut. If we cut this, they have a sharp edges and they can be clear cut cleavage is there, but in amorphous solid they undergo irregular cleavage when we cut. So what are the examples of crystalline solid? Generally ice, salt such as sodium chloride, metal such as sodium, copper, gold, etc., and materials like diamond, graphite, quartz are the typical examples of the crystalline solid, whereas amorphous solid, glasses, plastics, rubbers, tar which is obtained from the uh, petroleum, which is a petroleum byproduct, metallic glasses, that means metal is alloyed with the glass, are common examples of the amorphous solid. So now what is isotropy and anisotropy? We know that the crystalline solids are anisotropic and amorphous solid are isotropic. So what is meant by anisotropy and isotropy? So isotropy means the properties such as refractive index, conductivity are all independent of direction of the measurement. That means they exhibit the same magnitude for any property in every direction. But in anisotropy, the properties like refractive index, thermal and electrical conductivity, absorbance, tensile strength, etc., etc., they are different when measured in a different direction. If we see in the figure, so particle 1 and particle 2, if such placed for anisotropy, then if we go A to B, then one type of molecule we get, okay, but when we go from E to F, then we get the different types of molecule. That means O, particle 1, particle 2, particle 1, particle 2, again like that. That means if we go E to F, there are different series of molecules or atoms, that means constituent particles come. If we go A to B, then there is a different particles are there. If we go C to D, different particles are there. That means if we measure, it is a uh, it is a direction dependent property. If we measure any property in one direction, then it is different if we measure in the another direction. Next point is, what is the isomorphism and polymorphism? Isomorphism, morph means it is a form. Two or more substances having the same crystal structure are said to be isomorphous. In these substances, the chemical composition has the same atomic ratio. For example, NF, MgO, this is one example. Second is NaN3 and CaCO3 are isomorphous pairs, and they have the same atomic ratio. That means 1:1 or 1:1:3. That means 1:1 for NAF and 1:3 for NaN3 respectively of the constituent atoms. So polymorphism. What is polymorphism? A single substance that exists in two or more forms or crystalline structures is said to be polymorphous. That means poly means many, morphism means more forms. Polymorphism, that means one substance or one substance in a different forms. Polymorphs of the substance are formed under different conditions. For example, calcite and argonite are two forms of calcium carbonate, that is NaCO3. A quartz and B quartz and cristobalite are three of several forms of silica. Polymorphism occurring is in elements called as allotropy. That means allotrope, they are allotropes of each other. So calcite and argonite are the allotropes of each other. A quartz, B quartz and cristobalite are the allotropes of each other. For example, three polymorphic allotropic forms of carbon are diamond, graphite and fullerene. They are the carbon compounds. They are polymorphic carbon compounds. So diamond, graphite and fullerene. Next point, very important point we are going to discuss is classification of crystalline solids. How we in last slide we discuss about the types of solid, where we know that there are two types of solid, crystalline solid and amorphous solid. So here we are going to discuss about the classification or types of the crystalline solid. There are four types of crystalline solid. One is molecular solid, second one is covalent network solid, third one is ionic, and fourth one is metallic solid. So in this table we have collected the forms of the unit particles present in the particular type of solid, the forces act between them, what are the properties of these solids, and some examples. So in molecular solid, who is the constituent particle? The constituent particles, they may be atoms or may be molecules. Forces act between the particles are London forces, okay, then dipole forces and hydrogen bonding. These type of intermolecular forces are present in between the molecular solid. And what are the properties? They are fairly soft, low to moderately high melting point, poor thermal and electrical conductance. And the examples of these molecular solids are argon, methane, sucrose, dry ice, carbon dioxide, etc. Second type of solid is a covalent network solid. They are made up of atom connected in a network of covalent bonds. The forces between them is a covalent bond, that means which are formed by the mutual sharing of atoms. Properties of covalent network solid are they are very hard, they high melting point, often poor thermal and electrical conductance, and diamond, carbon, quartz, that is silica, these are the examples. Third solid, crystalline solid, is a ionic solid. They have positive and negative forces, that means one is a positive ion, another is a negative ion. What type of forces are present? Electrostatic attraction, that means the attraction between the positively and negatively charged ions. So forms of unit present is a ion, that means positive and negative ions. And the properties of the ionic solid, they are very hard, brittle. We know that NaCl example, melt, very high, poor thermal and electrical conductance. The examples, typical example, salts, sodium chloride, calcium nitrate. Next one is metallic solid. Here the constituent particles are atoms, and the bonding between them or forces between the atoms is a metallic bond. Then the properties of metallic solids are they are very hard, low to high melting point, excellent thermal and electrical conductance, they are malleable and ductile. All metals, for example copper, iron, aluminium, platinum, gold, silver, etc., these are the examples. And here in the figure we can see the molecular solid, ionic solids, covalent network solids and molecular solids. Next, the properties of crystalline solid. So what should be the properties of the crystalline solids? So here in this table we have collected the type and property. So if we see property, particles of the unit cell, in ionic solid it is cations and anion, that means ions, as we discussed earlier. In covalent network it is a covalently bonded atoms. In molecular solid it is a monoatomic or polyatomic molecules, and in metallic solid it is a metallic ions in a sea of element. Interparticle forces, the forces, that means intermolecular interparticle forces, are here in ionic solid electrostatic. In covalent, that is a covalent bond. Then in covalent solid it is a London forces, dipole forces and hydrogen bonds. And in metallic solids it is a metallic bond, attraction between the cation and mobile valence electrons. Hardness, difference in the hardness. So ionic solids are hard and brittle, covalent solids are very hard, molecular solids are soft, and metallic are very soft to hard. Melting points of the ionic solid are very high, about 600 degrees Celsius to 3000 degrees Celsius. That of covalent network solids are about again high to 1200 degrees Celsius to 400 degrees Celsius. Molecular solids are very low generally as compared to other forms, minus 272 degrees Celsius to 400 degrees Celsius. And metallic solids, they having a range of melting points minus 39 degrees Celsius to 3400 degree Celsius. So next property is thermal and electrical conductivity. So ionic solids are very poor electrical conductors, same as covalent network solid and same as molecular solids, but metallic solid, they possess a very good conductivity for the heat and electricity both. And the examples are ionic solids NaFCl2. For covalent network, diamond and silica. For molecular solids, ice and benzoic acid. And metallic solids, all metals like sodium, magnesium, copper, gold, etc. Next point is crystal, lattice and basis. So what is meant by lattice, what is crystal lattice, and what is the basis? Lattice is a geometrical arrangement of points in three-dimensional periodic array. A crystal structure is obtained by attaching a constituent particle to each of the crystal lattice or crystal points. Such constituent particles that are attached to the lattice points from the basis of crystal lattice. Crystal lattice are also called as a space lattice of the or crystal lattice. In this figure we can see the basis, that means lattice are denoted by the dots, basis is by the large dot, and if we connect them we got a crystal. Next and very important point is unit cell, very basic point in the solid, unit cell. So what is unit cell? The space lattice of crystal is built up of three-dimensional basic pattern. This basic pattern is repeated in 3 dimensions to generate the entire crystal. The smallest repeating structural unit of the crystalline solid is a unit cell. There are 3 types of unit cells. One is a primitive or simple unit cell. Second one is a body centered unit cell. Third one is face centered unit cell. Fourth one is a base centered unit cell. Crystal systems. This is a very important points, and the here the imagination part is there. So those students which having a very good imagination power, they can understand this point very nicely. There are only 14 ways in which similar points can be arranged in a 3-dimensional order. These 14 lattices which describes the crystal structure are called as Bravais lattices. 14 Bravais lattices are divided into 7 crystal systems. The possible combinations of lattice point spacings ABC along 3 axes and the angles alpha, beta and gamma between these axes gives rise to 7 crystal systems. In other words, 7 crystal systems are associated with 14 Bravais lattices, also called as a 14 unit cells. So here the names of the 14 Bravais lattices, that is unit cells of each of the 7 crystal systems are given. So crystal system, for example cubic. So here name of the Bravais lattice is simple or primitive, body centered and face centered. The figures are also given. Next one is a orthorhombic. Here 4 Bravais lattices are there: simple or primitive, body centered, face centered and base centered. Trigonal, there are 2 Bravais lattices, simple or primitive, and second one is a body centered. Fourth one is a monoclinic, 2 Bravais lattices, simple or primitive and base centered. Rhomboidal, simple or primitive, it is 1. Triclinic, it is only 1, simple and primitive, simple or primitive. And 7th one hexagonal, again 1, simple or primitive Bravais lattices. Now mainly we are going to discuss about the cubic system Bravais lattices. So here, as we know, there are 3 kinds of unit cells present in the cubic system. One is a primitive or simple In short, it is known as a simple cubic SC, body centered cubic BCC, and face centered cubic FCC. The simple cubic unit cell has a particle at which of the 8 corners of the cube, that means particles present in the 8 corners of the tube. In body centered cubic, the particles are at the 8 corners and additional particle is present in the center of the cube. And third one is a face centered cubic, that means there are 4 faces are there, so the particles are present at each of the six faces in addition to the particle at 8 corners. If we see the figure, then we clearly understand this. So simple cubic, there are 8 corners are there for the cube, and each constituent particle is present at the corner. In BCC, body centered cubic, there is a 8 corners and at the center of the body one constituent particle is there. But in face centered cubic, there are 6 faces: first face, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. That means 2 right, left, top, bottom, and front and back. These are the 6 faces in FCC. So if we cut them, we observe like that. So here in the figure. Next, number of particles in the cubic cell. If we see the previous figure, this figure, in simple cubic, if we see the half, generally some part of the atom which is inside. In BCC, one complete atom or particle is inside, and in face centered, face molecule or particle which is half inside, half outside. So a primitive or simple cubic unit cell, a simple cubic cell has particles at its 8 corners, as we discussed earlier. When these unit cells are stacked together, particles at each corner of given unit cell is shared with 7 other neighboring cubes that come together at the corner. As a result, the corner particle contributes 1/8 part of the given unit cell. Thus, simple cubic cell has 1/8 part of one cell into 8 particles is equal to 1 particle per unit. This is a particle share for each cube. For body centered cubic cell, BCC unit cell has 8 corner particles and an additional particle at the center of the cube. 1/8 of each particle of 8 corners, as like simple cubic, belongs to the given unit, and addition of that one which is present at the center. That means it makes total 2 particles per BCC unit cell. Face centered cubic unit cell, FCC, that is face centered cubic unit cell, has particles at the 8 corners plus particles at the center of its 6 faces. As described in a simple cubic unit cell, one particle from 8 corners belongs to the given unit cell. Each particle at the center of 6 faces is shared with one neighboring cube. Thus, 1/2 of the each face particle belongs to the given unit cell. From 6 faces, 1/2 into 6, that is 3 particles, belong to the given unit cell. Each corner particle of cube is shared by 8 cubes. Each phase particle is shared by 2 cubes and each edge particle is shared by 4 cubes. Therefore, FCC unit cell has one corner particle plus 3 face particles, total 4 particles per unit cell. Thank you. So this is the first part of the solid state chemistry. In the next coming days I will upload the next video. Still you have to see this video, understand this video, and you can also refer our new book which is given by the board. You can read that topic also. If any query, you can contact me on my phone, WhatsApp. Also, in the next coming days I am going to upload the next videos. If any queries you have or any suggestions you have, you can contact me directly. Thank you.